You're listening to Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast.
When your heart is aching and your world is shaking, don't give up. No, don't give up.
Hello and welcome to Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast. I'm your host, Jana Short, and today we're here with Sonia Banuls. Sonia began her journey into energy work and movement while living in Barcelona, Spain. I love it there. Competing in gymnastics, she developed her fascination for the body and mind, and this led her to a career in wellness, in the wellness industry as a wellness director and international dance presenter. In London in 2006, she discovered her passion for yoga, and that led her to receive an 800-hour yoga teacher certification. In addition, she started working for a major corporation as a wellness specialist, teaching yoga and wellness holistic practices, including spa programs and onboard cruise ship lines all over the world. I can't wait to talk to you. This all sounds so exciting. Eventually, she moved to the US, where her versatile background allowed her to work for nonprofit and government sectors, teaching corporate yoga and promoting global health education initiatives to underserved urban areas in Washington, D.C. And at the present, she's on TV channels and develops well-being programs for women entrepreneurs around the world through her Wellness Holistic TV channel and app. Oh my goodness, Sonia, I need an app. You are a busy girl. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here.
I'm so excited to start talking to you about all you do. Right now, Sonia is calling in from Greece, and I just can't wait. I've been to Greece once, but on a private yacht, and so I never made it on the islands, but I can tell you the coastline is beautiful.
Yes, it's very beautiful. It's my first time for me in Greece. I am in Crete, specifically at the Six Senses Spa and Resort. And I've been here for first time since July, giving my services as an holistic practitioner and developing my programs in collaboration with Six Senses. And it's been an amazing experience. And I didn't know that Greece was that beautiful. I'm really, really enjoying my time here.
It's beautiful. I hear the people are amazing, but who wouldn't want to be in Sonia's shoes right now, living in a resort, doing health and wellness? Like, I'm there right now. Well, Sonia, One of the things we ask all of our guests to do at the top of every show is to share a story of hope. I truly, truly believe that our stories of hopes and our journeys that we've been on, literally, when we share them, helps change and structure the lives of others out there. So do you want to share your story of hope with us?
Yes, sure. Well, I've been always very fascinated about holistic health, but really what kept me focusing and really developing more and more myself and expand in the different areas was also my personal story. I come from a very humble family, and I really had to really fight and struggle, and I went through a lot of a struggle in my personal and professional life. So I had to use tools and things aside of college that will help me to grow and help me to also develop the inner strength that I needed. So I started being very interested in ancient practices, holistic practices, personal growth. So that was my main thing that I really could support myself, that I didn't have to rely on external factors. So my personal development as a person, as professionally, was always like engaging in courses or engaging in more developing myself more in order to cope with challenges or to reach a particular goal that was difficult for me. And that's how I started seeing that I had developed a lot of confidence, and I discovered my curiosity and my will really led me to discover a lot of things that and travel around the world that might not have thought ever in my life, engaging in new cultures and new ways of holistic practices, in new ways of living, thinking. And with all that knowledge, I thought, well, I have to do something, because there is a lot of women that I met that has a lot of potential, but I see them that they keep themselves low, or because they just get married and then that's it, they forget about themselves and they just take care of the family, or because they want to build a business, but it's really hard as a woman because it's hard to get the capital that you need. It's hard because if you have a family, and sometimes you lose your health. And many women, I met many women in Bali, for example, that every week they were just quitting their corporate jobs, and they were completely burned out, and they had to really heal themselves and really be again back to who they were before. And I thought, well, I have to really use what I learned from myself, that you have always choices, and you have options, and you really have to love yourself enough in order to develop and reach your goals. But it's possible, and you don't really need to be burned out or have ended up having health issues. So it really made me to really create something beautiful and something that is really focused on women, helping them holistically to reach their goals without losing their health.
By the way, I love that, because it does feel like, I remember, because now I'm 60, but I remember at one point I was somebody's daughter, right? That my whole life was defined around being someone's daughter or sister. And then I was someone's wife, and then I was someone's mother, and I never was just me. And it wasn't until I got older that I was able, and through an illness that like opened my eyes, that I was able to tap into what my true purpose was here on this planet. And of course it was to be a daughter and a wife and all that, but there was so much more that I had blocked because I was so busy doing all the other things. I was just on your website. So holisticdivas.com, that's you, correct?
Yes, it is.
I just want to make sure, because one time I was talking about someone's website, like, that's not my website. I was just on your website, and the only reason I'm going to be bringing this up, so you guys can go to holisticdivas.com, and all this stuff's going to be in the show notes, but the only reason I'm bringing it up, because she had this phrase on there that caught my attention, and then when I clicked on it, it even made it more something I wanted to know about, because we have been having so many people write into us about this exact topic. But you have something, a little link in there in your UR bar that's for food activism. And I'm like, what is that? And then I click on it, and it's about how practical activism for global and personal transformation. And you're learning how plant-based diet can be the catalyst for change. So I'm so glad I looked here, because I have like literally 10 or 20 people reach out to me about plant-based foods, because I recently have been doing only plant-based for the last 90 days. And I was only going to do it for 30 days to reset my body, and then start gradually adding things in to see what I was reacting to that was making me feel so miserable. But I loved it so much, Sonia. I feel like I have so much energy. My skin is glowing. Like, I feel so good that I can't stop. Like, do I wish every once in a while I could tap back into some of that stuff I wasn't eating? Maybe a little bit, but then I fill my my stomach with the good stuff, and I don't want it anymore. So it's been beautiful. But why did you call it, like, this whole thing, food activism? What does that mean to you?
I call it food activism for a reason, because it's not only the food that you put into your mouth and into your body. It's also what's behind in it. For example, who do you buy your food? Do you buy to corporations that they don't have ethics? Or do you buy it to local farmers that they grow the food organically, and then that they also, that the soil is in perfect conditions? So you will make an impact on that, not only where you buy and who do you buy, also you need to analyze what is behind, how they are growing their food, what they are using. And I put a lot of emphasis on that, because I say, listen, we complain that our food has no taste, but then who will buy the food? We go to big supermarkets because it's busy, it's easier, and we buy like just food that is modified genetically and it has no nutrients. So we are creating a demand. And then we complain we have no organic, no natural, but then the poor farmers, that they are the ones that they make less profit, but they have the good fruits, vegetables, and they cultivate with good soils. They make sure that they use the proper ingredients for the soils, and at the end is the food that will nourish us more. Then we don't buy it. So these farmers, they don't have demand, so obviously then they have to go lower into their businesses. So we have to start also making conscious decisions about who do we buy and the choices that we make. And if we want the world to change, you have to first look to do a U-turn and look what choices are we making. Who are we buying? Are we buying imported foods, or are we buying local foods? The local foods are the ones that are going to give us also more nutrients, more energy, and more what we need. And it's a very principle that is used in macrobiotics. Macrobiotics is, it was born in Japan. And one of the principles of macrobiotics is that it's very important to eat locally for a reason. Because if you eat locally, the foods that are grown there, it's going to also help your immune system, because the foods that are grown in the area where you are in alignment with the nature. For example, if you are in a place where it's very, very cold, and then you consume pineapple or papaya, for example, tropical foods, where tropical foods are grown? In very sunny and hot places. Why? Because they are very refreshing. So when you are in a very sunny or hot place, to consume tropical foods is going to help you, because it will refresh your body. That's why these foods are grown in those places. But when you consume those foods in a winter or cold environments, imagine when you are in this kind of environments, what do you need is hot. You need roots. You need foods that they will really nourish you and warm you. But then if you eat pineapple and tropical foods, it's going to do exactly the opposite. So it's a very easy and it makes sense logic principle, but we don't think about it. So I try to tell the people about being conscious about, it's not only about the climate change, it's also, it has many factors, and it makes sense to make these conscious decisions. What doesn't make sense is the way we consume, just because it's more practical, and then we complain. So we need to start being more conscious and really choose and also do a little bit of research and educate yourself what is behind everything you are buying and the way you are behaving regarding food. That's why I call it food activism, because I'm very, I really want the people to be conscious and aware, and I'm really pushing all the time and make them question, because then you heard the blaming and, then there is no good food. Well, there is no good food because it's about business, where the demand is. So then we have to change our demand.
The two things that you said are, to me, that are so powerful is, one, you're right, food doesn't taste the same. There's no flavor to it. We're adding more salts and whatever we can to get a flavor. I love tomatoes, and I stopped eating tomatoes because they just didn't taste like anything to me anymore, until my husband started growing them here. And he brought one, and I'm like, no, I don't eat tomatoes. I just don't really like them anymore. And I ate it, and it was like, all the stuff from my childhood popped back. It was so good. And I'm like, why don't tomatoes taste like this anymore? So now we grow a lot of our own fruits. I mean, hey, we live in Los Angeles area. You can still grow your own fruits and vegetables wherever you live. The other thing that you said that's so powerful about activism, when people aren't creating foods correctly, we can yell all we want, and as long as people are giving them money, they're still making that horrible product that they're making. The more powerful decision is just taking the money away from them. So
Exactly.
search somewhere else, because I learned that a long time ago. When something isn't something I want to support, like the way they're manufacturing it, the way they're putting it out in the market, even a sales pitch that they're doing, and I think they're targeting children, and that makes me angry. I just stop giving them money, stop feeding them the money, and they will either change or they'll go out of business. So you have so much power in your pocketbook that you can scream all you want, you can write letters, nothing changes. It's cheaper for them to have a lawsuit against them just to make the change. But if you hold your money and give to the people that you've researched, you're comfortable with, you want to support, you're going to make a huge impact on them. And it may take more than just me, but I know that I start, right? It starts a trickle effect. I was again on your website, and I definitely want to talk to you, Sonia, about all the amazing things you're doing. I want to know about your yoga, your meditation. But before we finish this, then I want to talk to you about how you're taking that into the world and like what's happening next. But tell us a little bit about your yoga and your meditation, because she has some amazing stuff on her website.
Yes, well, I've been a yoga teacher for many years, and my last 3 years I was living in Indonesia and Bhutan, and I had the privilege to be studying with gurus, with lamas and rinpoches, and I learned a lot the past 3 years just because the pandemic started. So I decided to take all this knowledge and to teach meditation practices, but that are really easy, practical, and effective for you to incorporate into your daily life. And the woman that I'm teaching, they can use it in many areas in a very simplistic way. I adapted these teachings in a very creative also and practical way. And so when you do a meditation, you can do it in a very effective way, but also integrate this knowledge into your daily life and have positive results. Usually what happens is that now, because yoga and meditation is very trendy, when people do a class, they think that the class is just to do what you do in the mat, or when you sit and you do a retreat and you do a meditation retreat. It's just about there, but then they don't know really how to incorporate there into their lives, or how to integrate. And let's be honest, when you are on a retreat, you have a lot of time, but then when you go back to your normal life, you go back to your environment, and you are going to, you will need tools into in order to incorporate very easily and effectively these teachings. So what I do is to create like routines and programs that women can really have a very positive impact in their personal and their professional life. And I combine it holistically with yoga. And I combine it with different mindfulness practices. And because I found that the Buddhist tradition is the one that it's easier maybe for people to incorporate, I combine the yoga, but with Buddhist tradition practices in meditation and in other areas. So I do very special combinations, and I make sure that the guests and the clients that they sign up with me, they have a very different experience than what they can have on a yoga studio or in their normal life. I offer very unique combinations that they never tried before. And I encourage them to do so they can have another angle, and I make them think. And which I really love that, because I make them question things, and I make them to bring themselves in a more aware and mindfulness state. And I inspire them in a way to make changes and to change their habits when they go back home. And I do that with collaborations with resorts around the world. That's why now I am in Crete with Six Senses. But I move myself around the world. Now, for example, in November, I organize another retreat in Ibiza, Six Senses, for women entrepreneurs as well. So I move myself around the world, and I try to also combine this unique experience with places where am I, so that people can experience the connection with the nature, and it can have a totally different sense.
I love it. By the way, I'm a huge yoga junkie. I've started doing it maybe 15 years ago. And I remember the first year, every time I had a yoga session, I would cry. I couldn't stop crying. And I got in my car like, why do I keep doing this to myself? But I moved past whatever that block was. And now I leave and I'm filled with joy. And it's just amazing. It literally is a mind, soul, body kind of activity. One of the things I definitely want to know is like, where do you see your holistic business? Where are you driving this to for 2022? And I just want to know all the good stuff that's coming.
Yeah, well, Holistic Divas, it's projected to be an online wellness boutique that offers content that is easily streamed to your television, that helps women entrepreneurs and busy women and women who really are looking to be happy. And I define happiness as the result of fulfillment. And they are really looking for very easy programs to free their mind, to excel in life, and to expand their consciousness through a worldwide community of sustainable wellness experiences. So I'm building the platform that is in combination with the app to really place these experiences where they can sign up with a membership and they can watch it and have their community support from women from around the world, from any place into the world. And also they have the option to really join the different retreats scheduled during the whole year around the world. So this is where is hitting the next step.
That sounds so exciting. Can you just tell me, like, who are you serving with this? What type of women are looking for this sort of program?
Holistic Divas is for women entrepreneurs that would like to experience the benefits of a plant-based lifestyle. Because I teach a lot also how to change more, to have more vegetables, how to live a plant life style in a balanced way, so you have all the nutrients that you need. And it's for busy career-oriented women that they want to learn a more holistic approach and apply into their daily lives. And our woman is also interested in health and wellness and want to learn more a sustainable lifestyle and be part of a global community, because I have women from all the countries in the world.
So I love that you keep talking about plant-based, because that's my new obsession. She has some incredible, like, delicious recipes on here. And there's one here with, I mean, I never can say this right, spirulina and green millet. And oh my gosh, it looks amazing. And that is so good for you right now. Like, it is so good for your body. So I love it. If you guys are thinking, I'll never go vegan. By the way, I've said that for years. I'll never go vegan. I love my meat and I love this. But I did it because it was making me sick. I was getting sick from my food. I started writing a journal. How do I feel 30 minutes after I eat anything I ate, right? And it was always like, I feel miserable. I need a nap. I have no energy. I feel like it's draining my energy instead of feeding me energy. And then when I started doing plant-based and doing my journal, like, I wasn't overfilled. I felt like my body was thriving off of what I was giving it. And if that doesn't say, like, you're on the right track, I don't know what else will. So you can go to her website and get some of these amazing fun names. They have very fun names. Post-punk kitchen.
Well, I was very privileged to work with the best vegan chefs in the world. In Bali, for example, I joined a lot of vegan retreats with the best vegan chefs in the world. And I learned a lot. And also I spent in France 5 months volunteering, learning the basics of macrobiotics, which is also basically mostly vegan. And I learned it from different places, and I like a very creative food. I think it has to be colorful, it has to be creative, and it has to be delicious. And one of the misconceptions that most people have is that if you are on a plant-based diet or lifestyle, you are only eating salads, and that's not true. We have a variety of things that we eat in combinations that are so delicious that they really fulfill you. And that's what you say very well. You can experience, you have a lot of energy when you are on a plant lifestyle, a diet or program, or changing your lifestyle in a more plant-based. You're going to have a lot of energy, and you will see in the way you focus, in the way you work, your physical activity. It changes everything in a very positive way. But of course, that's what I always say, it has to be delicious, because if people doesn't like it, they are not going to do it, they're not going to maintain it. And it has to be sustainable in the long term. So I really teach tools and ingredients and fancy recipes, so people, they can also learn by themselves, and they can see that it's possible to have fun and have delicious food, and at the same time transition more in a plant-based lifestyle.
You know, one of the things I learned in my just 90 days is that I literally try to eat whole plant food. And this is why. The processed plant food kind of does fill in that little hole of you eating like more normal. But on the other hand, it is so full of sodium that I'm like, what is happening to my body? I'm eating plant-based, but then I went and looked and I'm like, oh, look at the sodium in this. So now I try to eat whole plant foods, you know, so it's whole plant-based, nothing really processed. Having said that, I was able to eat, I think I had an omelet this morning, and it was all plant-based, and it was delicious, but it was very low in sodium. So you got to be super careful when you're doing it, but it tasted delicious. I think that you are absolutely amazing, and I'm so glad that you are making this Holistic Divas journey with all of us. So I'm going to put all of Sonia's information in the podcast. You can easily click and be there and get to know her. And maybe if you're in her part of the world, go join her for a yoga class. Yes. Or get her app for sure and join her from wherever you're at in the world. Yes. Thank you so much, Sonia, for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me here. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to the Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast. Make sure to visit Jana's website, bestholisticlife.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Google Play, or listen there, so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you simply tell a friend about the show, that'll help too. Let's change the world together, one health expert at a time. Looking forward to seeing you next time.